Yes, we are talking books. And this summer, add a real page turner to your reading list. And here with her reading recommendations is Rona Brinlee, the owner of BookMark in Neptune Beach. Welcome back. Always great to see you.
It's nice to see you always too, and lots of good books.
We do. So where do we start?
Okay, The Woman of Light. This is a great book. The star of this book is Luz. It's 1930s in Denver, so it's the Depression, and Luz is a tea leaf reader. She reads people's tea leaves to tell them their fortune, and her brother is a snake charmer.
Okay, that's an interesting combination.
Not for nothing, this is an amazing, interesting family just trying to make it through the Depression and fight all the battles of that time period and still find happiness and love along the way. So it's a great story and very atmospheric and time specific.
Yeah, it sounds really good. What else do we have?
Ashton Hall. This is a little creepy. This is a woman and her son who leave New York and go to stay in a manor that her uncle owns in Cambridge, England. And the little boy goes exploring and he finds the skeleton of a woman. And they discover she's from the 1500s, so she's been there a long time.
Interesting.
And his mother starts doing research, and she finds they have very parallel lives, that women are making the same sorts of decisions now that she's confronting that this woman did 1,500 years ago.
See, they say history repeats itself. That'll be interesting.
I know, you got to be careful about that repeating history. So.
And we got another page turner here.
Search. This is really fun because this is a food critic is the narrator, and she's looking for her next great book to write. And so she joins this committee with the church. They're going to pick a new pastor. And she figures people have written books about, I don't buy anything in a year, I don't have sex for a year, why don't I have, I'm looking for a pastor for a year. Okay. So it's all these crazy people on this committee and how, you know, good committees can make bad decisions.
I hear you. Okay.
So it's a book in a book, and there's recipes at the end.
Okay, I'm always one for a good recipe.
Yeah, make something fun.
First Coast Living, and we'll have more on that.
Oh, let me know. I need some help.
Okay, me too. And I knew you always throw in a little science for me.
I do.
So what do we got with that?
So if you thought the other one was creepy, this is really, so this is a couple of years after the pandemic. It's like nice to think about after the pandemic. But there's been a solar event and all the power grid is blown and the world is dark. The world goes dark, as I said, from the nuclear plant to the coffee pot.
I see.
And there's one man in California, and he has a bunker, you know, where he can invite whoever he wants. He gets to pick and choose. And then there's the people who don't have a bunker, and how do you make decisions, you know? Right. I remember sitting at the dining room table talking with my father saying, we're not having a fallout shelter because I can't tell anybody they can't come in, you know? So this is timely, yet again, history repeating itself.
Yes,
right.
So Aurora, that's a must read for me for sure.
That's right.
You've got, it looks like Wastelands.
These are some nonfiction titles.
Non-fictions, yeah.
Wasteland, this is the story of black landowners in eastern North Carolina suing large hog farmers for the pollution and the toxins that they're putting into their water and ruining their land.
I've read about that.
And they win. That's not a spoiler. We know that they win. And John Grisham writes the foreword, and he says it's got all the parts of a thriller. You know, you've got the evil people, you've got the victims, you've got people who are willing to fight, and you've got a happy, triumphant ending. So
okay, that's awesome.
It reads like a novel.
How about a little humor?
Oh, this is great. 10 Tomatoes That Changed the World. This is by the author of the $64 tomato, where he talked about how it ultimately cost him $64 for each tomato by the time he bought the pots and the soil and the plants.
Oh my gosh.
Only 3 of them made it past the bugs.
Okay.
But this is the history of the tomato from time immemorial to the present and how it's gotten a bad name. You know, Rotten Tomatoes, that's how you judge if something's bad, like on television or a movie.
Talk about Rotten Tomatoes.
Right. And the Heinz ketchup bottle, which is in the Smithsonian. So, you know, it has a long storied history, the tomato. So a little eccentric and fun.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. And we got Nick Seabrook.
These are events, so this is very exciting. One person, one vote. Nick Seabrook is a UNF professor, and his specialty is gerrymandering. So it's really timely. It's a history from the founding fathers to the present about how redistricting, gerrymandering puts our democracy at risk and really threatens the concept of one person, one vote, which is so central to who we are.
Okay, and that's been in the news as well, so a very timely book.
Very timely. And then Admiral James Stavridis, who retired as the Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, not for nothing, as I like to say.
Not for nothing, okay.
To Risk It All is 9 decisions by 9 leaders, and they're facing crises, and he's saying that, you know, we hopefully don't have those same kind of crises where we have to act immediately.
Right.
But these are good decision-making tools that anybody can use, and we've moved that event. It's at the end of the month now, and it's going to be in a large studio behind our store so people can come and feel safe and social distance.
Yeah, social distance.
And hear
have
a
fun.
great talk, yeah.
Very good. And you're in a great location. I love where you're at. So I was talking about this. So Neptune Beach, and come out and see. It's like the bookstore that we grew up with, is the way I put it. I love the way you decorate and you have it all laid out.
Oh, I like that you think it's decorated, so thank you.
Oh, it is? Okay. It's just normally cool. And speaking of decoration, beautiful necklace today. Go with these beautiful books.
Yes, thank you very much. My sweet husband spoils me, so he'll
All right.
appreciate that.
Okay, well, thanks for being with us.
Always a pleasure.
And of course, we'll have much more on Rona's riveting reading recommendations on our website, firstcoastliving.net.